Welcome back here today on the beautiful campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College, another in our series of what's going on in the community. We say again and again how much we appreciate our young adults, our students, athletically, scholastically. Today, talking about Future Farmers of America, we have Wyatt Patterson, currently the president of the Chipley High School chapter of FFA, along with Breanna, Bracken. And what is your title?
I'm the vice president.
The vice president.
Yes.
When we come back, we're going to talk to Breanna and Wyatt about all this. We're going to talk about FFA. We're going to talk about agriculture in general. But we're going to talk about Chipley High School, and who knows where we'll go. But in the course of this conversation, you, as I have become, you're going to realize that we have much to be proud of in our young adults, these kids, I'm going to call them kids, at this tender age, ready to face the world, ready to replace us, as it were. But I think you'll agree that we do have a lot to be proud of right here in Washington County, in the case of Chipley, Florida, in which we find ourselves today. When we come back, we're going to talk about all this and more, and we will be right back. Welcome back. As mentioned, our guests today are Breanna Bracken and Wyatt Patterson. Wyatt, you reached out to me a couple weeks ago, I guess. You said, you know, we've got our annual FFA stuff all coming together at this time. I'm going to let you explain what the exact title of that is and what you guys do. But I appreciate you guys making the effort today. Did you have school today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so you had to wait. You said you'd be here around 3 o'clock, so you had to wait for school to be over. Wyatt, let's start with you. You are currently the president of Future Farmers of America, Chipley High School branch.
Yes, sir.
Talk about what words I'm misusing here. Let's start at the beginning, the nuts and bolts. What is FFA?
FFA is one of the largest youth organizations nationwide. It stretches all across the United States. It goes to Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands. We stretch out to many different portions of the United States, many United States territories. Right now, we're currently in our 90th annual FFA week, and with our FFA week, it runs from the Saturday before President's Day and runs to the Saturday after President's Day, an entire week. And in this week, we focus on what the importance of agriculture is, how agriculture affects us as a whole, and how without agriculture and without the youth today and the premier leadership that FFA offers, where the individuals of today would end up tomorrow.
Agriculture in general seems to be the focus of lots of controversy, good and bad. You know, everything from the honeybee situation where the honeybees are being destroyed or killed because of pesticides, pictures of China where little Chinese women are up on ladders hand pollinating fruit trees because they don't have enough honeybees, to GMOs, to some of our challenges facing us with our genetically modified foods. So I would say that agriculture probably is something that is a growth industry, regardless of the fact that there are fewer farms and fewer farmers, but they are producing more of our food. Breanna, how did you get involved with FFA?
I got involved when I was a freshman. My advisor at the time came to me and was like, hey, we have this cool thing, we show pigs. And I was like, okay. And she said, so we have, a slot available, if you want to get into it. I went home to my dad that night and I told him about it, and he looked at me crazy, like, swine showing, you? And I was like, yeah, Dad, because I was always a girly girl, always, into makeup and everything else when I was younger. And so I gave it a spin and stuck with FFA all 4 years.
Well, and here's the thing I've come to realize, that FFA or 4-H and being a girly girl are not necessarily mutually exclusive.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we've had the honor of working with many of your graduating groups of FFA students. Some have been here in the studio talking about state competitions. And on the contrary, very presentable, beautiful young women and ladies and gentlemen, but we're talking about the women here now, and they have all been feminine and yet working within that agricultural field. In all fairness, agriculture spans a huge variety of, you can be a chemist working in a laboratory all the way to working hands-on raising swine. Wyatt, the reason you wanted to come here today was to talk about this week's activities. Talk about what will be going on this week.
We started out the week with a team at state dairy judging evaluation, where our team placed 9th amongst nearly 80 teams, 20 teams competing with them at state.
That's all within the state of Florida?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
After this, since we were out of school Monday, we didn't have any activities that we went through Monday. Starting Tuesday, we begin to construct some more of our ideas. Today, we fed the teachers this morning as an appreciation to show appreciation for our staff and our teachers. Is without them, we wouldn't be here. Without them, we wouldn't be receiving our education and be where we are today. And also today during class, we held a T-shirt contest, allowing us to design some T-shirts, not only for our chapter, but even some of the designs we can send into the state and national office, and it can be considered as a design in which we can have sold in the future. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be putting a poster board up at the school, and this will be titled "The Reasons Why We Love FFA." And each FFA member and some ag students who plan to join FFA are going to be given a sticky note. And in the hallway, we're going to put sticky notes over the poster of why we love the FFA organization. And Friday, we're having our Area 1 State Vice President from the Florida FFA Foundation come, and he's going to be speaking to us about leadership and quality ethics and everything that FFA stands for to the individuals who might not know much about it in our school.
Now, are you both seniors?
Yes, sir.
Are all board members typically seniors?
No, sir. It's typically a pretty widespread group. This year we have 3 seniors and 2 sophomores on our officer team at the moment.
Okay. Now we have 2 young ladies who also accompanied you who we're going to be talking to next. I'm glad that you brought an array of people because obviously people are involved for different reasons, sometimes of their own, sometimes they got kind of shoved into it. As you pointed out, you were encouraged but then found out that you really liked it. Breanna, what do you see yourself doing when you get out of high school? What are your aspirations as far as career, family, all of that?
Whenever I graduate, I plan to attend Chipley and finish all of my prerequisites and then go to Gulf Coast State College where I will hope to get my degree in dental hygiene. And so that's my...
So nothing agriculturally
No.
based? Interesting.
Yes. I get questioned a lot about why...
Matter of fact, just the opposite.
Yes.
Lady handling pigs, lady
Yes.
with her hands in my mouth.
Yes.
You know, not so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely 2 ends of the spectrum there, but I did consider going into a vet type of setting, but I really am passionate about being a dental hygienist and that type of thing, so.
Good for you. Definitely another growth industry, some are very well paid. You're talking about being a hygienist?
Yes.
Any aspirations of going further than that down the road, or have you thought that far?
Yes, I definitely have thought about becoming an actual dentist and going that step further, but just to keep things, more at home and more into reality, just gonna keep it as a dental hygienist right now.
Glad to hear you say Chipley. So many times, right on this stage, we have interviewed people who have gone directly to FSU or the University of Florida or any other of the 4-year universities and had many problems.
Yes.
Sometimes thrust into that party atmosphere, sort of awash in that sea of people and end up flunking out or getting into even worse problems. Not saying that everybody is of that ilk or that everybody necessarily benefits going to a Chipley environment to start with. But again and again, we hear that story where Chipley is kind of like that warm blanket going, not a community not much different from this one here in Chipley. It gives you the ability to live at home and to commute, save that money that's going to be very expensive for the following 2 years anyway. So Wyatt, what about you? What's your plans for the future?
So far, I've been dual enrolling with Chipley College during my junior and senior year, and I'm going to have about 30 credit hours done when I graduate. So I have a year's worth of my prerequisites finished. My intended major is ag education. I'm going to be transferring to Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College in Tifton, Georgia, and receive a degree in diversified agriculture, and come back to Florida and receive my teacher's certificate and try and find a teacher's position, preferably in the Panhandle.
Wow, congratulations. Pretty well thought out.
Yes, sir.
You have a plan,
Yes.
for sure. And both of you do, for that matter. I've heard things about that school. Obviously, Tifton being in a part of Georgia that's extremely agriculturally based.
Very.
People don't realize how agriculturally based Northwest Florida is. Jackson County to our east here, probably one of the more prolific agricultural counties in the whole state of all 67 counties. And Washington County is still having a lot of ag in it as well. Brian Solger is your advisor, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about Brian. What do you think about him?
In the 3 years that he's been here, ever since my sophomore year, I've genuinely loved having him as an advisor. He's always treated us fair, always treated us well. He's making a lot of progression in our chapter. As an example, He's starting to reach a lot more people who wouldn't have normally joined FFA to begin with. And also not to mention that we're doing a lot of industry certifications at the moment. And we started out with only 5 individuals certifying, which brought us about $2,000–$3,000 into the chapter. And during this past fall, we certified 45 individuals, which is going to bring roughly $25,000 to $30,000 back into the chapter next year, about next spring, right around March 1st. And also coming up here in the next month or so, we're going to be certifying another 100 individuals, bringing in about $50,000.
Wow, pretty dynamic results. I go to Chipley Kiwanis Club with Brian's dad, who was a longtime ag guy, worked in Jackson County, worked in Washington County. Breanna, did you have aspirations of being the FFA president and were beaten out by this guy, or how does that work?
Well, actually, there were some defaults this year. We had a couple officers that I was originally the reporter for the chapter, and then there were some officers that, had some different ideas and different paths that they wanted to follow. So I ended up with this position, which is a blessing. So, yeah.
Thanks to both of you for taking the time today. We're going to try to attend some of your events, as we talked about a little bit in the pre-show. We're kind of stretched, several different directions. But if you guys would maybe put on your calendar somewhere or another to contact us, love to have you come back, maybe before the end of the year when you graduate. Talk again about what's going on, and then more importantly, after you graduate, come on back every once in a while. Let us know how things are going. We like to follow up. You mentioned dual enrollment. As you're probably aware, right here on the campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College, we offer 35 degree and certification programs, but we offer that dual enrollment for people who want to go into the more manual skills in a year. People can learn how to be a welder, a cosmetologist, pharmacy tech, cybersecurity, drone pilot, lots of cool programs here. More importantly, people say, well, I don't want to be a welder, I don't want to be a cosmetologist, I want to go on to a 4-year college. Actually coming here for that dual enrollment, being certified, say, as an electrician's helper, allows you then to go to Tallahassee, to FSU, and while you're going through school, work as that electrician's helper, maybe making $25 an hour versus a minimum wage in a McDonald's. Nothing wrong with fast food, but it gives you that opportunity to make more money. So we're having a hard time getting it out, so that's a shameless plug. I want everybody who's watching this to be aware of that as well. Again, best of luck going forward. Thanks so much for taking the time. We're going to bring your other young ladies up here in a minute and talk a little bit more about FFA. Is there anything that I forgot to mention, Wyatt, that you would like to mention?
Coming up March 2nd and 3rd, we have our Washington County Youth Fair. We're going to be showing March 2nd at 6 p.m. and start back up at March 3rd at 9 a.m. And also not to mention that, I mentioned earlier we had a dairy team that went to state finals. This year we're also going to be competing in state for several ornamental horticulture demonstrations. And I'll also be moving on to compete at the state level for extemporaneous speaking.
Wow. We'll be sure to attend some of that. We always do. Breanna, I'll give you the opportunity to say the final words. Anything that we forgot about?
No, sir.
All right.
All.
Again, thanks for being here.
Okay, thank you.
Our guests today so far have been Breanna Bracken and Wyatt Patterson, both members, both officers in the Chipley High School chapter of the Future Farmers of America. I think you'll agree with me that without farmers, we simply wouldn't be here very long. Food, that all-important element that makes up part of our everyday life. Sometimes we take for granted our food. We always take for granted our farmers, I guarantee you. Next time you see a farmer, much as we say with military, thank them for what they do. I don't think that that's going to go unnoticed, and at the end of the day, we really need to appreciate all of those people that go into agriculture. We'll be right back.